Ilhan Omar's in trouble. Or maybe I should say, hallelujah. This is not looking good for the welfare fraud queen. And this is not gossip. See Reason says this is forensic math. An investment firm claiming operations in 80 nations, yet no SEC registration, no clients, no deals, no asset management record, no M&A history, no paper trail. A DC headquarters that resolves to shared office space. A winery that appears to exist in name only. People are entering Congress with almost nothing and they exit as multimillionaires, not through documented business success, not through traceable investment performance, not through lawful, auditable pathways. Money leaves footprints. Capital has provenance. When $30 million appears without records, without clients, without regulated structures, the explanation is not genius, it's illegality. And if this were any private citizen, investigators would already be at the door. Titles do not suspend accounting laws. Power does not erase balance sheets. No records, no clients, no filings, no proof, just sudden wealth. This isn't political. It's arithmetic. And math never lies. Well, math doesn't lie, but we can't say the same for old Ilhan. And yeah, math doesn't lie. Bill Gates loses $440 billion in a single day as Microsoft shares plummets after the release of Epstein files. Ouch. But holy crap, ladies and gentlemen, it's been exposed that Ilhan Omar's husband's investment firm, which skyrocketed their net worth to $30 million, has no clients and zero records of them managing money. It's fraud, Eric Doherty says here.
Okay, that was far-left Congresswoman Ilhan Omar claiming the Justice Department and Congress probing her sudden skyrocketing wealth to $30 million in just 1 year, that they have a problem with her living the American dream. You heard her say the goddamn United States of America. We've got new questions on where she and her husband got all that money. Joining us now, Forbes Media Chair, Editor-in-Chief Steve Forbes. Steve, new information coming in, and Forbes magazine, your magazine has reported this too, that the state of Delaware and Washington, D.C. canceled the registrations for Omar's husband's investment firm, Rose Lake, for not paying its back taxes. We saw it owed more than $400,000 to Delaware and nearly $1,800 to D.C. She's claiming it's worth $25 million from less than $1,000 a year before. How can his investment firm not afford to pay taxes? It's supposedly worth an estimated $75 million to $150 million. This is really weird stuff.
Well, weird is not the word for it. There's another word for it called crooked. And that's why we have to have an investigation into this. As you know, the Biden administration started examining her finances and then that of her husband. And so
there are going to be multiple deportations coming. Absolutely. We're doing a deep dive on thousands and thousands of files.
Yes, the Trump administration can file a denaturalization lawsuit at any time, even 25 to 50 years later. That's absolutely massive, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I mean by Ilhan Omar should be freaking out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, another massive development just dropped in this Ilhan Omar saga. Last week, we reported that she is currently being investigated for her role in the fraud committed in Minneapolis.
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have some amazing news. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, in the Department of Homeland Security, is now investigating Ilhan Omar. They're currently looking through thousands of documents because she committed deportable offenses. That's according to Border Czar Tom Homan. Take a listen.
The Border Czar Tom Homan joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file and says that there was immigration fraud involved.
Did you hear that? We're not saying it. The border czar is. There was immigration fraud involved.
The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
Stick with me here because he's going to say some more important things. Then after that, I'm going to touch on that statute of limitations point he made, because Ilhan Omar might think she's in the clear because this fraud was so long ago. But I'm going to show you exactly why she's still cooked.
And according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali
community are in trouble. Yes, it's not my word. It's the word of Mr. President. He said he does not want Somalis in his country. He said they should get out of his country. He said, I don't want them. They're not contributing anything. Why did Mr. President say this? He said this because of the background story, which is the fact that Somali communities were found committing fraud in Minnesota. They have daycare centers. They have centers to feed the less privileged and give food for the vulnerable. And Somalis will open daycare centers, get money from the government, and the daycare center is empty. They're not taking care of anybody. They're not taking care of any children. They're not feeding the vulnerable. So they get the money and they spend it on themselves. Buy big cars, big houses, send money outside of the country, do projects. Even Kenya was said to be one of those places that the money was sent to, that they buy properties and all of that, to the extent that the government is thinking of how they will confiscate some of those properties that has been traced to Minnesota fraud. It is that serious. And this is why the president is saying that he does not want them in his country. Anyway, guys, welcome to the channel where I'm going to be telling you other things in this story. I mean, it's a peculiar story that is trending right now. And Keisha's watch will break down every view, dimension, perception. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. Credit belongs to original creator of every content.
Before carrying my passport around, I had a feeling of pride, and now I'm carrying it and it has a lot of darkness around it because now I'm just like, I just want to get home safe to my kids.
We're in Minneapolis, days after the Trump administration directed ICE to begin targeting and arresting undocumented Somali migrants in the city.
The Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
People from Somalia are garbage. And I heard it the first time. It was heartbreaking, because not for myself, because I know I'm not.
Munira Malamasak runs a primary care clinic in Minneapolis.
To have the President of the United States say these things, I think it feels like I definitely don't belong.
Minnesota is home to around 80,000 Somalis, many of whom were either born here or have been here for decades. Over 85% of Somalis here are U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents, but they still worry they could be wrongfully arrested.
People are carrying not only their ID, but their passports. No one gets their passports out unless they're traveling overseas. But now, I'm carrying my passport, right?
This local Somali shopping center would normally be packed on a Thursday afternoon, but today it's largely deserted.
Americans like me have to feel like, okay, I can't leave without having proper documentation, and many people are doing that. My entire life has been public service. I have served in the Army National Guard for 6 years, and I was elected as the first person of color, the first Muslim, the first Somali, the first of many things to serve in the City Council in New Brighton. When the president speaks with such vile, racist remarks, you feel like you lost some of that American values that this country had.
Back at the clinic, Munira says the fear is also affecting her patients.
We have no one here today because we were told that ISIS is around here. People are choosing to stay home.
The Department of Homeland Security says ICE has arrested at least 19 people in Minneapolis since the raids began, including at least 8 Somali nationals accused of serious crimes. It's not clear if more raids are coming, but for now, Munira's biggest concern is how the president's words will affect her children.
As a mom, not just a mom, but like a Somali mom, this is a scary time. I worry for my boys. I worry that a teacher may not give them the attention that they deserve. My daughter, I worry for. How can we get her to blend in a little bit more? Which is hard, right? To tell your kid to hide their own identity. I hope that they know that these words are touching real people and real people that love this country.
And then as you see here, hopefully you can see it, there is her with her white man husband, even though she hates white people.
I mean, I have no worry. I don't know how they take away my citizenship and like deport me, but I don't even know like why that's such a scary threat. Like, I'm not the 8-year-old who escaped war anymore. I'm grown. My kids are grown. Like, I can go live wherever I want.
U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Joseph Edlow has revealed widespread immigration fraud among nearly half of all Somali immigrants in Minneapolis, involving forged documents, fake marriages, missing employers, and non-existent businesses profiting off of taxpayer-funded incentives. Let's take a listen.
Officers from our Fraud Detection and National Security Directorate, working in teams, have conducted over 1,000 site visits across the Minneapolis-St. Paul area as part of this operation. What they found should shock all of America. Focusing on a list of over 1,000 target cases involving more than 900 individuals, our officers encountered blatant marriage fraud, visa overstays, people claiming to work at businesses that can't be found, forged documents, abuse of the H-1B visa system, abuse of the F-1 visas, and many other discrepancies. Over the course of the operation, our officers found indication of fraud, non-compliance, or public safety and national security concerns in nearly a little less than 50% of the cases interviewed. We found troubling patterns with the Uniting for Ukraine program that should have raised serious concerns under other administrations, such as an individual filing to sponsor more than 100 aliens, and organizations sponsoring hundreds. We are continuing to investigate these cases. Some of the other troubling cases that our officers found. In one case, officers identified an alien who had overstayed his visa waiver, who was the son of a known or suspected terrorist on the no-fly list. He had previously been found to have engaged in marriage fraud, which resulted in the denial of several immigration benefit requests. He was arrested and is now presently being returned to his country of origin. In another, an individual admitted to obtaining a fake death certificate in Kenya for just $100 to prove he was no longer married. In reality, his wife is alive, living here in Minneapolis, and is the mother of 5 of his children. And incidentally, he has another wife living in Sweden with whom he has an additional 3 children. In another case, an alien entered the United States without inspection in 2023, was released by Border Patrol. The alien married a U.S. citizen while in removal proceedings and was interviewed at the Minneapolis-St. Paul USCIS field office just last week, where both he and his American spouse, stated under oath that their marriage was legitimate. The USCIS officers conducting the interview were suspicious. The site visits were authorized the same day. The American spouse ultimately that afternoon admitted the marriage was fraudulent and entered into solely for immigration purposes and withdrew her petition for that alien. This type of same-day action for interview, from interview to site visit has...
So we have that, but listen to what Carolyn Levitt just said. Listen to this.
I'll tell you what does not add to our nation's character and integrity is refugees who come here under the alleged plight of asylum and fleeing persecution, and then come to the United States to abuse our system and rip off American taxpayers. And as I pointed out, the New York Times, to their credit, it was about 6 months too late, but they did write about how Somali immigrants in Minnesota have been ripping off American taxpayers. In fact, 86 people have been charged in a rampant and widespread fraud scheme spanning multiple programs in Minnesota. Of those 86, 78 of those people are Somali, 91% of them charged. So far, 59 of those people have been convicted for their roles in fraud plots that have stolen $1 billion from taxpayers. In one scheme, and this is egregious, a nonprofit and its affiliates with these Somali migrants claimed to have fed tens of thousands of American children during the pandemic. They were reimbursed for those meals by taxpayers. However, federal prosecutors found that almost all of those meals were never even delivered to hungry children. In fact, those organizations' leaders spent the money on houses, luxury cars, and real estate in Turkey and Kenya. Another scheme involved hundreds of organizations who were reimbursed for services that were supposed to help people at risk of homelessness. Once again, those services were never provided. All of this has happened under Democrat leadership in a Democrat-run state, where these refugees, these migrants are coming to the United States. They are abusing our system. They are draining our resources that should be going to law-abiding, taxpayer-funded, tax-paying Americans. And this president is not going to put up with it anymore.
And I want to give you some more about the fraud that's going on. I have a lot more information about it. Ilhan Omar's fraud, what's going on with these Somali refugees, what's happening in Minnesota. But I'm going to save that for my next video because there's just so much to cover and this one's already going on long enough. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell because I promise you're not going to want to miss any of my updates. But until then, I will see you guys real soon.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Ilhan Omar had an absolute meltdown and kind of filled with hypocrisy after talk of her being deported started coming from President Trump and Representative Nancy Mace. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. She appeared on CNN yesterday, Representative Omar, and she wanted everybody to know how angry she was. And she went on to, first of all, accuse Nancy Mace of making up a lie about how she got legal status in this country by marrying somebody who maybe she shouldn't have married. I'll leave it at that. And, of course, there's no evidence of that. No evidence. Well, there might be evidence, but hasn't been proven. It hasn't been proven. That's a better way to say that, right? So it hasn't been proven, and Nancy Mace wants her deported. She said if she committed this crime, if she's not in this country, if she lied on her immigration forms, if she lied on her citizenship application, she doesn't belong in Congress, she doesn't belong in this country, deport her. Well, Omar had a meltdown about this, but the hypocrisy part comes in where she talks about, you know, that Trump and Mace have put her life and other Democrats' lives in danger by the rhetoric, they say, by calling her an enemy of the state. This is a woman who routinely uses words like fascist and another word to describe people from the 1930s and 40s Germany who were on the side of their evil leader that I can't say here. But this is what she does on a regular basis. Authoritarian, they're going to take your rights away. She says that in the same breath she says these words can bring about violence. Well, what about your words, Representative Omar? What about your words, you hypocrite? I want you guys to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
And directed at Omar. We're not even showing you all of them. At one point, she called for her to be deported, despite the fact that Omar is a U.S. citizen. Omar responded, calling her crazy, unwell, and saying that she's in need of therapy. My source tonight is Minnesota Democrat Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, and it's great to have you here. I mean, we'll talk about the Nancy Mace of all of this in a moment, but on that resolution that passed today, a lot of your House colleagues, the Democrats, voted yes on this. Why did you vote no?
Yeah, well, I condemn political violence, and I obviously condemn the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I just not get myself to honor a legacy that I believe was filled with hate, bigotry, and rage baiting. And I think it's really important for us to have this honest conversation about what this man's legacy was, you know, what he spewed on his podcast, and the ways in which he disparaged women of color like myself.
Your colleague, another Democrat, Jamie Raskin, voted yes on this resolution. He basically said, even if he didn't agree with every phrase in it, that he viewed it as a moment for both parties to come together. Do you think he's wrong in that?
Well, the moment should exist, but what we have seen this week in regards to what my Republican colleagues have decided to do in their attacks targeting me and what the president has decided to do, these are people who are calling basically for our assassination of us. Nancy Mace, as you just referenced, called me the enemy of the state. And so these are not people who are interested in bringing us together. They're not interested in, turning the volume down. They're not interested in finding common ground. And even the Republicans who voted out of their obligation to the Constitution and doing the right thing in making sure that I didn't get censured for words I did not actually say, they are being under attack right now. They're being threatened. A call for their resignation is out there, and some of them are actually frightened for their lives from their own base. And so, you know, when we say we want a country that's united, it starts with all of us and all of our actions, and we're not seeing that on the other side of the aisle right now.
Yeah, and to be clear on Mace, she didn't literally call for your assassination, but you're saying because of all of the comments, I mean, we just showed the dozens of tweets directed at you, that.
But the last thing I'm going to show you is absolutely hilarious. A reporter asks Ilhan Omar about what Trump just said, and Ilhan just freaks out and starts having a meltdown. Hit the like button if you loved that. The guilt is eating her alive. Ilhan Omar is so against the Somali fraud being investigated because she knows the whole community is involved. And the more people that are arrested, the higher the likelihood that somebody finally rats on Ilhan Omar's complicity. Democrats know that once their funding stops for allowing sanctuary cities, and they are forced to toss that policy after the Supreme Court inevitably rules that it's unconstitutional, the back half of 2026 and the last 2 years of Trump's term are going to be filled with so many deportations that the Democrats' eyes are going to water. And they will be forced to watch their power slip away as their entire future electorate is sent back home. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.
Welcome back to Cultures Watch. The truth of the matter is, Somali community are on the verge of being deported. You all know right now that Minnesota is the ground for ICE operation. You know that, right? A lot of people few people were unalive as a result of ICE operation in Minneapolis, Minnesota, because the standing order is pick as many as possible, deport them, arrest them, because they do not have proper documentation. But the truth of the matter is, the last time I checked, over 90% of Somalis are citizens. Oh yes. The few ones that have TPS status are very minute. You know why? Because a lot, over 50%, are born in America. And the remaining percentage are the people that came from Somalia and they've naturalized. So over 90% of them are actually secure. You get it? So now, being deported might not be possible except the president is trying to denaturalize them. And that's exactly what he said. He said it's going to revoke their citizenship. As a matter of fact, he has stopped TPS, but the court gave order that he shouldn't do that. March 17 was the last day. He said no. The court said no, you can't do that to them because 80 are there, Venezuela, Cubans. So you can't just speak out Somali and stop the TPS. It's not possible. That those people were actually vulnerable. A lot of things were happening in their country, and the list of countries that even America list those countries. So the judge said, no, you can't stop it because genuinely they were a country that has issues. So you can't stop their TPS. That was a saving grace for a lot of Somalis. But do you think Mr. Trump will listen to that? Do you think he will allow TPS to continue? Because the first set of people that he wants to deport are actually people with TPS. He said they must be out first. Illegal migrants. He calls them illegal aliens. That's his word. So I want them out of the country. They're not contributing anything. But you and I know that for citizens to be sent out of America, it must be that they've committed a crime that is, there's what we call I crime. That is when they can be picked up and deported. Or, yes, but in this case of Somalis, few of them committed a fraud, but it is not all of them. So picking them up and denaturalizing them, revoking their citizenship might be very, very hard. That's what I think. But I might be wrong. I don't know. But I think according to the Constitution, anyone that has become a citizen has become a citizen. It has to take the person to commit a high crime and is declared wanted. That is when it can be revoked. When it's in the case of Somalis, we have good number of them. I mean, it is not all of them that is involved in this fraud. Truth be told, it is not all of them. But the dislike for Somalis didn't just start today. It's because of their effrontery. A lot of times they try to make Americans feel like, oh, I'm better than you. We have come to stay. Let it get to you. We are here. All the statements made Americans to say, we're tired of you guys. Just leave our country. And some of them still want to practice Sharia law. All of these things. Like Americans saying, we're tired of you guys. Just go. But hey, they can't just go. The due process, the Constitution must be followed. They are citizens. They are working. They are paying tax. Will it be possible for Mr. President to deport them? Ilhan Omar, we know the case. The presidency has, they come out with the marriage certificate between her and her brother. They're just looking for cases, files. They say that is fraud, that she can't stay. So if they're telling Ilhan Omar, a congresswoman, that she can't stay, then what's the hope of the common Somali? Anyway, guys, I'm leaving everything here. Let me know what you think. Let me know your perception as to what you think about what I've just said. Is it going to be easy for Somalis to be deported? Let me hear from you in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching to this time. Until I come your way again, don't forget, subscribe, like, and share. Give this video a thumbs up. I put the video, let it go viral. And I'll be grateful for that. Thank you. Until I come your way again. Bye for now.